Have you ever actually stopped to marvel at the sheer magic of the modern logistics network? Every single day, literally millions of packages are moving across cities, countries, and entire continents. You click a single button on your phone, and somehow, almost like magic, an item just appears at your doorstep. For most of us, it feels incredibly effortless. We are constantly promised something we absolutely love to hear, which is free delivery. But behind that everyday convenience is one of the most sophisticated, wildly expensive logistical machines ever built by humans. I mean, if moving physical products around the world costs tens of billions of dollars a year, how on earth can a giant like Amazon afford to ship so much stuff for seemingly nothing? Well, the answer really isn't what most people think. It's not just about trucks and warehouses. It's actually a fascinating mix of psychology, customer behavior, and uncovering what might be one of the most powerful business models ever created.
But before we really get into the hidden mechanics of all this, welcome back to the Supply Chain Insiders. We've actually just crossed 120,000 logistics enthusiasts in our community, which is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you guys so much. I really hope you enjoyed our previous explainer looking into exactly why Dubai became the world's logistics hub. Now, if you're new here, please take a quick second to join the community by liking, subscribing, and hitting that bell icon so you never miss an update. Your support is what allows us to keep pulling back the curtain on how global trade actually works.
So think about your last online order. Maybe it was a phone charger, a book, a new pair of headphones, or maybe just a packet of coffee. It feels so incredibly simple for us, right? But that doorstep illusion completely makes us forget the massive global logistics machine that is relentlessly operating behind the scenes just to make that one click a physical reality.
Which brings us to Section 1, what most people get wrong about these hidden costs.
You see, when people hear the words free delivery, they subconsciously just assume the shipping costs have somehow magically disappeared. But let's look at the gritty reality of it. Every single package goes through a long, highly physical, and wildly expensive journey. First, products are stored inside these absolutely massive fulfillment centers. Then, workers and highly automated systems have to physically locate the item. It gets packed, it gets sorted, loaded onto vehicles, and then transported through a super dense network of facilities before it ever reaches your front door. And the thing is, every single step costs money. The massive fulfillment centers, they cost money. The labor costs money. The transport fuel costs money. The cutting-edge technology costs money. We are literally talking about tens of billions of dollars spent every single year just to operate and expand this physical network.
So the absolute crucial point to understand here is this. The shipping isn't actually free. Not at all. The cost absolutely still exists. It just isn't being presented to you, the customer, as a separate little line item at checkout. Which, naturally, brings us to the most important question we can ask today. If the shipping isn't free, who is actually paying for it?
Let's dive into Section 2, following the money right into Amazon's true profit drivers.
It turns out that modern retail is a whole lot more complicated than simply selling a product. To uncover the truth here, we really need to look away from the physical cardboard boxes and investigate the hidden revenue streams that are actually subsidizing this massive delivery network. First off, Prime memberships generate enormous recurring subscription revenue. Then you've got third-party sellers who pay referral fees just for the privilege of listing their products. And many of those same sellers also pay Amazon hefty fulfillment and storage fees. Oh, and we definitely can't forget advertising. When brands want their products to appear higher in your search results, they literally pay Amazon for that visibility. It's actually crazy to think about, right? Brands are paying just to be seen, effectively subsidizing the shipping costs before the item is even bought.
But here is where it gets super interesting, because the real financial engine running quietly in the background is just fascinating. Notice how Amazon Web Services, or AWS, completely dominates the retail side when it comes to operating income. Now, AWS powers websites, applications, and cloud infrastructure for companies all around the globe. Historically, this digital infrastructure has generated a disproportionately massive share of the company's operating income. We're talking often around 60 to 70% relative to its actual share of total revenue. So essentially, the invisible digital cloud is paying to move your heavy cardboard boxes.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why understanding the broader picture is absolutely critical. Amazon itself openly admits they do not evaluate each package as a separate business transaction. Instead, they evaluate the entire customer relationship. Sure, a single order might actually lose money on shipping, but that one order doesn't tell the full story. Years of your purchases, your subscription renewals, your exposure to their advertising, and the fees collected from the sellers you buy from. That entire, fully integrated ecosystem is exactly what makes their immense investment in a physical delivery network economically viable.
Section 3. The absolute genius of Prime and how it changed our behavior.
Prime is arguably one of the most important innovations in all of modern retail.
Just think back to our before Prime behavior. Remember that? Consumers used to hesitate. We would calculate shipping costs. We'd open multiple tabs to compare websites, and we would constantly abandon our shopping carts completely just because of that extra $5 delivery fee. Now think about the after Prime behavior. Once you pay that yearly membership fee, shipping charges are entirely removed from your decision-making process. The whole experience becomes completely frictionless. The psychological question in your brain changes from, do I want to pay for shipping, to simply, do I want this product?
And this psychological shift triggers what the industry calls the Prime Flywheel. It's this incredibly powerful compounding effect. Step 1, Prime memberships grow because people desperately want that convenience. Step 2, because the friction of shipping costs is gone, those members naturally generate way more orders. Step 3, more orders create an absolute explosion in delivery volume. And finally, Step 4, that massive volume allows the logistics network to drastically improve its efficiency and its speed, which, you guessed it, turns right around and attracts even more Prime members. So what started as a simple, optional shipping program fundamentally rewired online shopping behavior and evolved into an inescapable competitive advantage.
Moving to Section 4, the scale advantage, which is really the ultimate moat.
Let's just break down the sheer magnitude of their global network for a second. If you operate a truck to deliver just one single package, the economics are absolutely terrible. You will lose money every time. But when you look at these ecosystem assets combined, massive fulfillment centers, highly automated sorting facilities, entire fleets of cargo aircraft, tens of thousands of vans and trucks, and all of it tied together by incredibly advanced routing algorithms, well, the picture completely changes. Delivering thousands of packages across a perfectly optimized route network dramatically, and I mean dramatically, improves the underlying economics of delivery.
So the big takeaway here is surprisingly simple. The larger the network becomes, the more efficiently Amazon can utilize all of those assets. Now, it doesn't mean every single shipment is suddenly super profitable on its own. It means the network as a whole becomes more and more efficient as the volume scales up. That level of efficiency creates a powerful operational advantage that smaller competitors simply cannot match, no matter how hard they try.
Finally, Section 5, smart consumer strategies. Now, understanding these mechanics actually empowers us to be much smarter shoppers. So here's a really quick checklist to keep in your back pocket. First, always compare prices. Amazon is super competitive for sure, but it isn't always the cheapest option out there. Second, focus on the total cost. You got to factor in taxes, shipping policies elsewhere, and the speed of delivery. Third, take a second to consciously weigh the actual value of convenience. Ask yourself, do you really need that item tomorrow morning, or is the instant gratification kind of clouding your judgment? And finally, for those larger purchases, absolutely utilize price tracking tools because product prices fluctuate significantly on these platforms to offset all those various network costs we just talked about. When we pull all of these threads together, right, the hidden seller fees, the massive AWS cloud profits, the psychological behavior hacks, and the sheer operational scale, we arrive at a really fascinating core thesis. The real product isn't the shipping. The real product is pure convenience. Convenience is easily one of the most powerful forces in modern business. It's actually very similar to what we discussed in our previous explainer about Dubai's trade routes. Different industries, different strategies, but the exact same core principle. Build the network, make yourself indispensable to the flow of goods, and the network itself becomes your ultimate unbeatable advantage.
Now, if you found this explainer helpful and you want to keep uncovering the hidden strategies that run our world, please hit that subscribe button to join our supply chain community and click the bell icon. Up next, we are doing a truly fascinating deep dive on how Talabat is absolutely dominating the Middle Eastern food delivery market and totally reshaping local commerce. You definitely won't want to miss how they've engineered their own network advantage.
But before we go, I want to leave you today with one final, kind of provocative thought. Next time you click checkout, I want you to ask yourself, whenever a company offers something for free, where has the cost been moved? Because in business, costs rarely just disappear. They just get redistributed. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.